There's this quiet pressure most of us women carry, and no one's really talking about it out loud. The pressure to grow faster, heal faster, figure things out faster, to not fall behind, to keep pace with whatever invisible timeline we think we are supposed to be on. And when healing is part of the story, especially when you're working to heal your child, this pressure multiplies. You start comparing your child's progress to someone else's. You compare how quickly someone else's skin cleared or how fast another woman felt better in her body. You start thinking your timeline means something about you or your motherhood or your effort or the choices that you've made. But here's what's been coming up in our private community, the Rebalancing Collective, and even in my own life. Your timeline is not a measure of how well you are doing. Your timeline is a mirror of who you are becoming. I'm going to repeat that. Your timeline is not a measure of how well you are doing. It's a mirror of who you are becoming. Healing isn't just symptoms leaving the body. It's the nervous system learning safety again. It's the mind slowly moving out of survival mode. It's the body trusting itself enough to let go of things it's likely been holding on to for years. Gosh, for most of us, our entire lives. And deep growth, the kind you actually feel in your bones, never happens on a schedule. It unfolds in the pace your life can hold, the pace your motherhood can hold, the pace your nervous system can hold. Welcome to the Follow Your Gut podcast, the show for the woman who's ready to stop outsourcing her and her family's health and start leading it. I'm your host, Juniper. Every week, I'll teach you how to understand your body and your child's symptoms through the lens of the gut so you can take clear, confident steps towards real healing. This isn't about chasing symptoms or following trendy protocols. This is about foundational healing, where we get to the root of it all, your gut. I am so happy you're here. Let's dive in. I am in a season right now where my pace looks different than it ever has. My kids need more from me. Their schedules are full, their emotions are bigger, the conversations are deeper, and every part of me feels how quickly time is moving. I have this bone-chilling awareness of how the busier we get, the faster the years start to blur. And I don't want to look up one day and realize I missed the very season I'm trying so hard to savor because we were involved in too many activities or doing too much. So choosing slowness isn't effortless. It's something I have to fight for every single week, to not get swept into the urgency of everything happening around me, to not let the momentum of life pull me into a pace that doesn't feel aligned for my family, to consciously pause, to breathe, to see my children, to actually be present in my life. This isn't slowness because life is slow. This is slowness because I am choosing it. And this choice is reshaping me. It's shaping how I parent, how I lead, how I build my business. It's teaching me that slow doesn't mean stuck. Slow doesn't mean behind. Slow can be the most powerful rhythm in the world when it's intentional. And it's the same with healing. Some families heal in one rebalancing cycle. Some need two. Others have lost count. My own son ended up needing 5 back-to-back rebalances to fully heal his body. Not because he wasn't responding, not because anything was wrong or because it wasn't working, but because the depth of what he was healing required time. His nervous system needed time. His inflammation needed time. His story needed time. And every layer he moved through shaped who he became on the other side of it. And not just him. I needed time. My nervous system needed time to settle, time to shift out of that hypervigilance, time to stop watching every symptom like it was a warning sign and instead start trusting the process. because our children don't heal separately from us. They co-regulate with us. They borrow our steadiness. They borrow our belief. They borrow the safety or the unsafety that we feel. And I didn't realize it when I was in the thick of it, but part of his healing timeline was deeply tied to mine. This is why I have an entire lesson on our nervous system inside the course that comes free with the gut rebalance kits and the symptom-specific bundles, because you need to understand how your child is co-regulating with your nervous system. And healing is about so much more than simply taking supplements. I had to slow down enough to actually see and celebrate the small improvements that eventually added up to my son's full healing, to stop needing everything to change overnight, to stop gripping the outcome so tightly that I couldn't see the tiny shifts happening right in front of me. I had to learn how to regulate my own body so that his body could finally relax into healing. When we compare our timelines, we step out of our own body, out of our own child's healing journey, and into somebody else's life. We forget that each child, each mother, each family has a completely different load they're carrying, different stress patterns, different past trauma, different sleep rhythms, different levels of inflammation, different seasons of life, different nervous system capacity. And that means healing timelines can never truly be compared. Something that so many mamas don't realize is that when our babies develop symptoms early in life, especially within those first 6 months, it means they inherited an imbalance we likely didn't even know we were carrying. Most of us didn't grow up understanding gut health. We didn't know how stress, birth control, antibiotics, pregnancy, and even our own childhood shaped our microbiome. We didn't know it was possible to pass an imbalance on when we ourselves never even recognized symptoms in our own bodies. This means healing is so much deeper than any of us realize when we get started down this path. A mama and child don't heal on separate timelines. Even when you are not breastfeeding, you still share your microbiome. Imbalance is intimate, and healing is just as intimate. The shifts you make in your body support your child's body, and the shifts your child's body makes supports yours. You move as a unit, you grow as a unit, you heal as a unit. And once you understand that, the timeline stops feeling like a race and it starts feeling like a relationship. The truth is, the timeline is shaping you. It's slowing you down where you need to anchor. It's speeding things up when you have the capacity, pausing when your nervous system needs a breath, surging when something finally clears. Every bit of it is guiding you into the mother and the woman you are becoming. Every bit of it is preparing you for the life you've always dreamed of, and it's doing the same for your child. This is something I think about all the time. If growth happened faster, most women wouldn't be able to hold it. I wouldn't have been able to. If healing happened overnight, most families wouldn't have the nervous system safety to maintain the changes. The pace of your or your child's healing is not a punishment. The pace is your protection. It's wisdom beyond our understanding. So if your child's rash hasn't cleared as fast as someone else's, if your cravings took longer to shift, if you are 3 weeks into rebalancing and it feels slow, if you see someone else's story and feel that tightening in your chest, I want you to remember this. Your timeline is divine. It is exactly what your body can hold, exactly the rhythm your growth or your child's growth requires, exactly the path your motherhood needs. Healing is about so much more than symptoms disappearing. It's the identity you grow into as your or your child's body releases what it's been carrying. It's the wisdom you learn in the waiting. It's the strength you discover in the setbacks. It's the deeper emotional inflammation that you start to clear as your and your child's bodies start clearing the physical. Your timeline is not something that you can force. It's something that you have to honor. And when you finally stop fighting the pace of your healing and you start trusting it, you stop feeling behind. You start feeling rooted. You start feeling grateful, proud, and deeply aligned because you finally realize that this exact timing, this exact season, this exact pace is the only one that could grow you and your child into who you are meant to become. Before we wrap up, I love closing out the episode with your transformations and answers to your questions. This is my favorite way to stay connected with you and to support you no matter where you are in your healing journey. If you want to submit a question, I open up a question box every month on my Instagram stories, so watch for that. Submit your questions and make sure you are subscribed to the podcast so you are sure to hear the answers. Now, let's get into it. A transformation and a question asked by so many of you in last month's question box. This week's transformation is one that really captures what happens when you heal from the root. This mama shared that her 2.5-year-old son had dark circles under his eyes, a bloated abdomen, trouble sleeping, and eczema on his belly. And all of it disappeared in 1 month of rebalancing. She also said, I have had food intolerances, abdominal bloating, and reoccurring candida for the past 10 years, and I'm now healing. Thank you. Reading this really moves me because it highlights something I see every single day. When the gut is imbalanced, the symptoms don't just stay in one place. They ripple. You see them in the skin. Then you see them in digestion, in sleep, in mood, and in the immune system. And you see them in children so quickly because their bodies are so sensitive to inflammation and imbalance. Their bodies are still developing. Dark under eyes, bloating, eczema, restless sleep, these symptoms aren't random or disconnected. They are signs that the gut and immune system are overwhelmed. And as soon as the gut begins to heal, those symptoms start to fade because the inflammation driving them begins to calm. The immune system stops overreacting. The detox organs finally have support to function optimally, and the nervous system can settle enough for the body to actually heal. And what I love even more about this message is that she is also healing. It is the most beautiful experience in the world to heal together as a family. So often as mamas, we prioritize our children and we forget about ourselves. Healing yourself not only further supports your child's healing, but it changes you as a woman and the mom that you get to be every single day. This is the beauty of healing from the gut outward. A child who finally sleeps, a belly that isn't inflamed, smooth skin that can breathe again, a mama whose decade-long symptoms are finally softening. This is the kind of transformation that reminds us all that healing is possible, no matter how long you've struggled or how many things you've tried. Now, this week's question is one I know so many of you wonder. This mama wrote to me and said, "Hi, I took antibiotics since I was a little child. I had an allergic reaction to amoxicillin. I also had my childhood vaccinations. I have kids now, and I've never given them antibiotics. Can I still heal all of the heavy metals in antibiotics from childhood? And how would I do it correctly?" First, yes, you can absolutely still heal. Your body is unbelievably resilient. Even decades later, you can heal from antibiotics, heavy metals, vaccine residues, and the imbalances they created. I see this every single day. It is one of the most empowering parts of this work. understanding that it is never too late to heal. What happens is that these layers from childhood don't disappear. They settle deep into your body. They weaken your microbiome. They dysregulate your immune system. And because the gut holds over 80% of your immune system, those early hits to the gut set the stage for so many symptoms later in life. Food sensitivities, hormone imbalances, anxiety, depression, fertility complications, chronic inflammation, fatigue, bloating, and that sense of, I've never felt quite right. The ultimate option of the Woman's Gut Rebalance Kit is so powerful for women in this exact situation. It does two things at the same time. It clears the bad bacteria, yeast, mold, fungus, parasites, heavy metals, and toxins that have been sitting in your body since childhood. And at the same time, it replenishes your microbiome, restores minerals, and rebuilds the foundation that the antibiotics and toxins weakened. As those deeper layers begin to clear, the body shifts. The immune system strengthens, inflammation finally calms, hormones regulate, the liver stops being overwhelmed, and your body starts detoxing naturally again, the way it was always meant to. I always want to be really transparent that this level of healing doesn't happen overnight. If your body has been carrying and growing these layers of imbalance and overgrowths for years, sometimes decades, it's going to take time and commitment to heal. This is why I recommend getting the Ultimate Kit on an 8-week subscription. This will save you 10%. It gives you free shipping in the US or flat rate shipping for international. And most importantly, it sets the expectation that this is a process. You aren't doing a quick cleanse. You are rebuilding the foundation of your body. And if you are in the US, adding Balance CBD can be incredibly supportive because it helps regulate your nervous system, your hormones, and your detox pathways while your gut heals. So if you have been carrying symptoms for years, if you've always wondered whether what happened in childhood is still affecting you today, the answer is yes. But the even bigger answer is that your body knows exactly how to release the overgrowths and the toxins once you give it the right support. This is one of my favorite kinds of healing stories to witness because it shows the brilliance of the body. And again, it is never too late to heal. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend or a family member who's ready to lead her family's healing. Everything mentioned in this episode is linked down below for you in the show notes. Be sure to subscribe to the Nourish newsletter, also linked down below, so you never miss an episode. I will email you the latest episode every Tuesday morning. Everything shared on this show is for educational purposes only, not intended as medical advice. Until next time, trust your body and follow your gut.